This video is about weed and cheesecake. Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg, the two most unlikely people in the world to be friends. Kicking it, riding on golf buggies, lighting it up, baking. Probably baking quite a few kinds of things. Before their friendship, each of them were loved, but together they have become iconic. But why? And what can it teach us about building a personal brand that makes people obsessed with us? To answer these questions, we have to talk about Shrek. We all know how the story goes, but let me recap. Shrek is an antisocial ogre. He hates people. He lives in a swamp and he wants to do so alone. He's tough and gruff and ugly and exactly what you expect an ogre to be like. But then one day he meets Donkey, who happens to be the exact opposite of him in every way. He's loud, optimistic, friendly, incessantly chatty. And at first they clash, but as the movie goes on, something strange happens. Donkey brings out a side of Shrek that's the complete opposite of what we expect an ogre to be. We realize Shrek is kind and gentle and sensitive. Donkey was written as a device to do exactly this. Reveal Shrek's contradiction. Because contradictions build characters that people adore. Contradictions make icons. And I am sorry, because now that I've pointed it out, you are going to notice this everywhere. Hollywood and TV writers use this trick all the time on our screens. Walter is a science teacher, and based on every science teacher that I've ever met, shout out Mr. Howitson, I am sorry about the Bunsen burner. We expect science teachers to be nerdy and meek and play by the rules. But then Walter meets Jesse, who on the surface is the opposite of Walter. He's from the streets, he listens to loud hip hop, he sells drugs. And when these two characters come together, this was a stroke of genius. These two were so expertly written to bring out each other's contradictions. Jesse, who we thought was this tough gangster kid, turns out to be quite risk-averse, morally integrous, and sometimes timid. And Walt, who we thought was a nerdy family man, turns out to be brutal and violent and kind of insane.
I am the one who knocks.
So back to Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg. While yes, on the surface they are the exact opposite of each other, black, white, male, female, from the streets, proper and prim, relaxed, uptight. In actuality, they bring out each other's contradictions. Snoop is a rapper, but he loves to bake and do richer white lady stuff like golf. Martha is a posh domestic goddess, but she smokes weed and she did a stint in jail and she rides a motorbike. Just like Shrek, Donkey, Walter, and Jesse, their contradictions make them so much more likable. The good news is that you have a contradiction and you can be leaning into it to build an iconic personal brand that people are obsessed with, and I'm going to teach you how. But first, let me tell you about my big brother, Tom. By the way, hit subscribe if you're finding this interesting. My mission is to help as many people as possible stand out, find their thing, and become a category of one. So come along for the ride if you want. Anyway, here's my brother Tom. He has tattoos and piercings and listens to loud metal music. And he drives a car that looks like this. He once told me that his favorite thing to do is hold doors open for old people and give them a massive smile. Why? Because he's one of the nicest people I know, but also because he knows it surprises them.
Huh?
He says they always give him the biggest, slightly confused smile back right after they do a double take. Our brains are so efficient at storing stuff because they use heuristics, which are essentially shortcuts to learning. And one of these heuristics that our brain has is categorization. If we didn't categorize the world around us, every time we encountered something new, we'd have to learn about it from scratch. Ain't nobody got time for that. Contradictions act as pattern interruption to categorization. When something doesn't fit neatly into our little boxes, we have to reevaluate our assumptions, and this cognitive dissonance causes us to pay attention. And when we pay attention, we are more open and curious and more likely to make an emotional connection. Old people categorize my brother and he shatters their categorization with his contradiction. And if you look close enough, you're gonna find contradictions in all your favorite celebrities. Post Malone. Similar to my brother, he looks like he's about to bust out some heavy metal, but his music is angelic. And he's super gentle and goofy, that's his whole brand. Michaela Noguera, she's gorgeous and glamorous and she looks super expensive, but then she talks and her accent is unexpected.
Kardashian.
Alex Hormozi has a net worth of $100 million, but he dresses exclusively like this. It is for their contradiction that we adore them. Okay, so great. But how do you find yours, right? Good news is that you don't need a Donkey or a Martha Stewart or a Jesse to find yours, because I've made you this simple exercise. Get a piece of paper and at the top write your category. Now, what is your category? This takes a bit of self-awareness. Think of this as like how people perceive you when they first meet you. Your category could be your job, a doctor or a barista or a marketing girly, or it could be your age, race, gender, ability, or how you look or dress or act. This can be hard because you have to confront people's prejudices about you, but just do your best. What is the thing that when people meet you stands out the most? Now, on one side of the page, write expectations, and on the other side, write me. Now list all the stereotypes and assumptions people make about your category. Then on the me side, list all of the things that you are. The difference between these two columns is your contradiction. If you can see something under the me column that's the exact opposite of something under the expectations column, then jackpot. That is a major contradiction. Another way to think of it is if you've had a thought before that's like, oh, I'm a woman in my 60s, I shouldn't be staying in a hostel. Or, oh, I'm a guy in finance, I can't be knitting on the weekends. That is your contradiction. The thing that you think you're not supposed to do as someone who is insert whatever. Once you find your contradiction, lean into it, amplify it, make it your personal brand, because that is going to make people obsessed with you. Let me know in the comments below what your contradiction is, and if you got anything out of this, hit subscribe. I'm going to do my best to keep making videos to help you find your thing. Bye.